Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute and happy Sunday. All the WCS supporters in the building. Appreciate you. Good looking out. If you do step in, hit the like button, like, share, subscribe, man. If you choose to donate to the channel, that's always welcome. But first and foremost, this is To The Square. Fight recap number 5, shawty. You know where we at with it. A lot of fight cards that went down yesterday, MMA and boxing. So we're going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about what's being discussed, especially in the Facebook groups. People losing their mind. They want to come up with all these damn conspiracy theories on Edgar Berlanga, him going the distance in 8 against Demond Nicholson. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about what is considered some of the upsets. You know what I'm saying? What really aren't upsets in UFC 261. But most of it's going to be probably boxing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to start off with boxing first. So, Top Rank threw a card down there in Florida, and I have to rate it it was a B- card. You know what I'm saying? It's a B-, close to a B+. I don't have any complaints about it. It was good seeing some young talent. The Adorno brothers, they're still coming up in the game. Man, they got heart. Man, them dudes are tough. It's no questioning what they in the sport of boxing. I know it's hard. I met their pops. I met them. I know it's hard being family that's in the sport of boxing, but it happens. You know what I'm saying? The support factor is good if it works. And when it's bad, it's on a whole nother level. But salute to Adorno brothers. Salute to Josue Vargas, man. Was in a tough fight, and he pulled out a draw. I want to ask you all, do you think it was a draw with Josue Vargas? Do you believe it's a draw? He was in a tough-ass fight, man. Ortiz came to win. Ortiz looked like he was in a whole nother weight class, too. I mean, that dude, obviously was in the gym. He's been working out. And he looked like the much bigger fighter. And he fought his ass off. And, but I have to accredit Vargas, on the other hand, with being very attentive during that bout and landing that counter uppercut. You know what I'm saying? His counter shots were smooth. They was well timed, and it really caught Ortiz off guard and ended up getting, I think two knockdowns in that fight, 2 to 3 knockdowns. I mean, he was smooth with it. I like it. Not all these boxers have power, so therefore you have to let the knockout present itself. I truly believe that's what was going on with Vargas. He ended up allowing his boxing skills to work itself up, so the knockout will come to him instead of him trying to get the knockout all the time. He found out this guy was extra tough early, but he used his craftiness, man. Very smart boxer to get that knockdown, man. Use his momentum against him. Edgar Berlanga, a lot of people was expecting him. Sir Ken in the building. Salute to you. World Combat Sports. Salute to the wrenches and the chat, and salute to the chats. Smash the like button. Salute to Sir Ken in the building. What's good? Michael Lewis. Salute to you, my brother. What's good? OMG, Scott, what happened last night? Yeah, for real. Epic night of fight. You know what it is, man. Let me know what your thought process is on this on some of the fights I'm going to talk about. Let me know where do they go from here. Mr. TKO in the building. What's good with you? Salute to your square all day. Hope everything is going well with you on this Sunday. Shout out to Team Williams, Junior 150 Boy Wonder in the building. They're doing big things, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Pay attention and stay tuned in and support this young warrior. You know what I'm saying? He has another fight coming up in Alabama. Check him out. He said, World Combat Sports. Let me get that wrench, my dude. Okay. There you go. Yes, it's good now. But hey, check this out though. Edgar Berlanga goes 8 rounds and get a unanimous decision. He did and was able to earn 4 knockdowns during the bout. It's a lot of positive pluses and minuses that happened in this fight with Edgar Berlanga. I would say he was in there with the fighter who wasn't there to be, just the right side of Edgar Berlanga's ledger. He didn't come in there to be a soft touch, a bum, as they call it. He didn't. I was curious to see, what this guy brought to the table. Was he going to be, was he going to perform just like the rest of the opponents and go out in the first round? I said before the fight, I wanted to see if he was just going to try to survive the first round. And I will have to credit Nicholson and salute him. He did not try to survive. He was in there boxing. He stayed close to Berlanga. It seems like they was actually trying to smother Berlanga a little bit. I like what I seen on the inside from Berlanga, but also he was starting to get predictable. And what I mean by that is, what I'm assuming Calvin Ford then was trying to do was give him little space to generate power as they possibly can, right? So what Berlanga showed last night was that he can generate power from short distance, even if his opponent is inside and close to him. He showed that he can do that. But he has also demonstrated and displayed the ability of being predictable. And one thing that Nicholson then failed to do yesterday was pivot out to his right. Stay away from that power right hand of Berlanga. He pretty much stayed on center most of the time with his guard up. And, he was defensive when it came to them, being at close quarters on the inside. But one thing that was predictable about Berlanga, he would slide that right foot back the post to create that little space, frame his body up so he can shoot whatever it's going to be, an overhand right or a straight right or a right hook. He did that the entire time. Whenever he's on the inside, he does it very transparently. He will frame his body, slide that right foot back, and he'll try to send that right hand down. And most of the time, Nicholson did a damn good job with eluding or slipping that right hand. And some of the time he was caught with, he had some awkward knockdowns, Berlanga. But that may be a testament to the power that he possesses in that weight class. As far as his overall boxing during this fight, he had the box. He was forced to box. He could have used his jab a lot more. A lot more. You know what I'm saying? Every time Nicholson was in close on Berlanga, it just seems like Berlanga said, cool, stay here. You know what I'm saying? Stay here. Because he felt comfortable with trying to, light him up with his right hand. He said, stay here. It's all good. When he could have just backed away, reset, came in at a different angle and tried to land some power shots. That was somewhat the predictability of Berlanga. He really didn't, box off the back foot if he needed to. He always had to be right there. Nicholson came in through the front door. He greeted him, stayed right there, and tried to light him up with a short inside hook or overhand right. He has a jab, if he goes on to increase his competition without using his jab much more active than he did last night, he's going to be in trouble. And also, if he want to fight on the inside like that, where most of his counter shots are going to be headshots, he's going to be in trouble. He's going to be in serious trouble, man. And, that's exactly what Calvin Ford was trying to do with this cat. They was trying to smother his power a little bit, get in close, land some shots of their own, and don't stay on the end of Edgar Berlanga's gloves. They didn't want Berlanga having the opportunity to light him up. But as the rounds went on, Nicholson backed up against the ropes, allowed Berlanga to get close, get the right distance, and land some tough shots. You know what I'm saying? But most of the knockdowns, in my opinion, were weird and crazy. Let me get to some of the comments, man. And like that, Mr. Take Care of his wrench. No, that's one of my brothers, Mike. You know what I'm saying? It's not just somebody that's from another channel or something. You know what I'm saying? Big Dog, salute WCS in chat. What's good? TKO, we stay tuned in the hottest sports commentary in the game. Keep doing your thing, Square. You know what it is. You know what it is. Appreciate you for pulling up, man. The next one's on the calendar is on his way up. You know what I'm saying? Michael Williams Jr., Fayetteville, North Carolina, man, in the building. They're killing the game out there, y'all. There's no rush. Check y'all brothers out. Berlanga needed this fight to find out more about himself more than Nicholson. As he continues to move forward, that ring down low only helps his craft. So what I'm assuming there is, him downloading those rounds, going from the first to the from the opening to the final bell, basically was pretty much appeared for him to get educated on his boxing skills, in a sense, putting in them rounds, gaining that experience, and moving forward to better competition. I wouldn't say that he's ready for, some incredibly high-ranking competition just yet. He still needs some work. I know he's 17-0, 16 knockouts. I totally understand a lot of people looking at that, but he does need work. He needs to understand how to stick to his boxing and put his combinations together without power. Just have medium, power to it, medium speed, so he can maintain that damn endurance and cardio. Berlanga was throwing some fire. Like, I know he went 8 rounds, but Berlanga, when he was in the center square and you even get close to him, that dude is loading up. And I don't mean loading up to the point where you can see him winding. I don't want to get it confused with winding up. But Berlanga was sitting down on his punches, and that dude had some serious motherfucking velocity on them shots when he send them. But he needs to just calm that down and start, putting his combination sets together in volume, like 4 to 6 punches. Work on the speed a little bit with that power. Because most of the time, the fight fans was understanding clearly when Berlanga was going to throw a power shot. We had really no confusion as to when that was going to happen. You can see his body language, everything else. If we can see his body language, what do you think his opponent is seeing? He just needs to work on boxing more. A lot of, they're going to be channels on here that just give him high praise for doing an outstanding job just because he went 8. I do. I'm doing it too. I credit him and salute him for going 8 rounds. Also, in between the opening bell to the final bell, it's called boxing. Yes, he put away the rounds. He earned, 4 knockdowns, and he got the job done. But you also have to versify the way you look in there as a boxer, and the way you put together and set traps for your opponent. Setting a trap for your opponent cannot be only when you're fighting on the inside and you shift the foot to the rear, the post up, to sit down on that right hand, whether it be an overhand right, straight right, or whatever the case may be. You need to start learning how to work the body on the inside much more. Work the damn body. If you have power up top, you definitely have power to the body. Become a body snatcher. You know what I'm saying? Channel your McCallum. Become a body snatcher. Start digging to the rib cage. You just can't have power over the top and you don't have power down low. It's not like you can't throw body shots. If you have power, you have power. It's just not Berlanga hasn't, I would assume Berlanga hasn't really worked on that extensively with Andre Rozier. You feel me? Like, I like what I seen. I did. I like what I seen. People was I was looking at the crowd, gauging what the crowd. Berlanga fans need to understand. You need to cheer that man on just as strong as the first round all the way to the last. Y'all was sitting down in between rounds, like y'all wasn't sure what was happening. Once Nicholson landed some shots and he survived another round, and the Berlanga fans seemed frustrated. They were sitting down there talking and having sidebar conversations. If you're gonna be behind the man, support him, even if he's not giving you what you expected. He didn't get the knockout in the first round. Move on. You say, okay, the second round. Okay, the third round. The fourth round, they were sitting there talking about, damn, let me see. I gotta be at work at 9 o'clock on Monday. And who fight next week? They seemed disinterested. And then they picked it back up around the end of the 7th. And then, in the 8th round or whatever. The 8th round, they wanted to cheer him past the finish line, hoping he would get that stoppage. Now that he didn't get the stoppage, people truly understand this is a sport of boxing, and boxers don't split the ropes every time and earn a knockout. And those who start off records like Edgar Berlanga and they're unable to continue that knockout streak doesn't mean that it's over. Doesn't mean that the knockout streak is over. What it means is, once again, styles make fights. And on that night, his opponent was able to demonstrate his durability as a man and as a fighter. He was able to get up when he was seriously hurt. Give it up to the referee for not stopping it and making it a cheesy fight. It was plenty of times the referee could have stepped in and stopped that fight and gave the crowd everything they wanted in the KO, but he didn't. I like that. Hey, sometimes you get some goddamn good ass, some damn solid refs, man. That's not desensitized yet. You get some solid refs that want, appease the crowd. Because I'm gonna be honest, I thought there were several times where Nicholson was hurt pretty bad that the referee, if it was any other referee, they would have been waving their hands off, say, I'm going to keep his knockout streak going. I know Berlanga, he probably thought that. I forgot what knockout it was. He probably thought that the referee should wave it off. But no, don't depend on the referee. Depend on what you have. Depend on your skill set and your power. Look, Berlanga's power isn't going anywhere. Berlanga need to work on uppercuts. You know what I'm saying? Once again, if you have the power, you need to start utilizing that power in with other angles, other accessible angles that you can work on and remediate in the sport of boxing. Body work, uppercuts. What he has been working on is hooks, overhand rights. He's been working on that shit. He needs to work more on 3 to 4 punch combinations or 3 punch combinations. Whatever appeases him. but he needs to let his hands go a bit more to hurt his opponent. And then when he moves in, dig to the body and come up top. Because once again, I think if Berlanga gets his opponent hurt, most of the time when he comes in, he's going to dig right for the headshot. Boom. Instead of digging to the body while your opponent is gasping for air anyway, and then try to take his head off. He's learning, and his next fight should be another vet that can make him think on the move. I agree. The fans wanted the KO, but Berlanga needed rounds because the level of opposition only gets better moving forward. Yeah, man. I know a lot of people was talking about, he wanted to put in rounds. He wanted to put in rounds as if Berlanga wasn't trying to knock this dude out. In my opinion, Berlanga was trying to knock this dude out in the very first round. I know people's like, hey, he need rounds because he's increased his opposition. We need to see him go, to mid to late rounds to see what he has in his boxing cachet, to kind of check out how he handles himself in adversity. It was a whole lot of variables that was placed out there for Berlanga. People was like giving all these scenarios, but at the end of the day, boxers doesn't get paid for overtime. And I'm gonna tell you like this: it just seems like Berlanga in the first round, he wasn't pulling his punches. If he could have knocked out Nicholson in the first round, he would have went over to the corner of Andre Rozier and say, you know what, I tried to put in some rounds, but it's boxing at the end of the day. And I caught him with a good shot and he went down and he was out. It's not up to me to now start pulling my shots and manipulating my actual boxing, my raw boxing skill set. Berlanga's not going to come in there and try to move around with a fighter that's his opposition, that's trying to take his head off. That'd be foolish of him to do that. To try to move around with a fighter that's his opposition. It'll be foolish. And he's trying to get bigger fights. I think in the 7th round was one of the best punches Nicholson landed on Berlanga. And he seemed to taken it very well. He landed a left hand on Berlanga. And I was like, damn, that was a nice solid punch. That was the best one of the fight for Nicholson. But there's very few in between, y'all. I salute him for his win. Like I said before, he has a lot of work to do. Like every boxer we critique in the YTC, he's going to need work. He has the right coach to get him that work. And he just needs to work on what I said, He needs to work on that body attack. He needs to work on, shooting the uppercuts when he's on the inside. Look at the fight. Look how every time he was on the inside, he was basically, posting up with that right leg to create that little bit of space so he can get that angle, whether it's going to be a short, quick right hook on the inside, overhand right, any of that. Shoot the uppercut. Take his head off. Learn. If you're going to throw them overhands and them hooks, man, dig to the body. Do that Mike Tyson 1-2. Hook to the body, uppercut. Body head. That's what Roy Jones said, body head. Hold on for a minute. All right, cool. Who do y'all think he should fight next? Who do you think he should fight next? So I'm about to check this. I'm about to go up, and we're gonna pretty much throw some names out here. So Edgar Berlanga in the WBC is super middle, a place where would be nice. It has some good hitters over there, some solid fighters over there, and these ranking systems are very I wouldn't say untrustworthy, but they're pretty much fragmented when it comes to consistency of their criteria on moving fighters up. You know, they have Edgar Berlanga at number five at WBA, with the champions being Fedor Chudinov, David Morrell, and Saul Alvarez. You know, we know he's about to step in there with BJS coming up. And then, you know, the IBF champion is Caleb Plant, of course. And the number 1 and 2 ranking is vacant. So once again, no Edgar Berlanga in the IBF as of yet, as we speak. But this is probably not updated off last night. And then the WBO, Edgar Berlanga is number 8. And once again, I'm pretty sure this is not a clear, concise update to the super middleweight rankings. You know what I'm saying? So, and plus, you know, I'm not going through multiple sites right now, but he has some solid names. And I really think one of the names that's going to prove a lot that you may see Edgar Berlanga fight, I think it'll be a good fight. I'm not going to lie to you. I think this will be a damn good fight. You know, that's if they believe he's ready or not. Real talk. Steve Nelson and Edgar Berlanga. Y'all think he's ready for a Jose Uzcategui? Is he ready for him? You know, he's been you know, as of recent, we can talk about Caleb Plant performance and Lionel Thompson performance against Uzcategui. You know, that would be a good fight for Edgar Berlanga if they believe he is ready for that shit. I don't know. I can't tell you if he's ready for that. Who else? And I know everybody's gonna mention Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs is like the Danny Garcia of welterweight. Daniel Jacobs is ranked in the top 10 across the board at super middleweight. That is going to be one of those fights with him coming off the Gabe Rosado win. That's going to be the level change for Edgar Berlanga if he ever decides to step up and fight the gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? That's real. Daniel Jacobs is ranked WBC number 3. Once again, we don't know when this was last updated. He's number 4. The WBA, Daniel Jacobs. Number 6, IBF. And 3 at the not 3. Number 2, the WBO. But that is one of those names that's out there that's been in there with the likes of Saul Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, you know, Sergey Derevyanchenko. It's just he's been in there with some big names. And Edgar Berlanga could potentially change levels fighting a name like Daniel Jacobs. He could definitely change levels and make that shit happen. He is 17-0 right now. He's still young in the game. I would say don't rush. Fight another medium level, medium tier fighter. You don't have to fight a huge name and just, try to take yourself unless they truly believe he's ready. Because at this point, they are pushing a lot of hype behind Berlanga. And, he is marketable. He's very popular in boxing. And it's only a matter of time, man, before the promotion and his sponsors and everything start to really push Berlanga. But the jury's, is still in session on him. Whether he can beat the big names or not. Can he defeat the big names when it comes down to it? One of those big names where he's, in line with is Daniel Jacobs. It has to happen sooner or later now. I don't see Daniel Jacobs moving out of 168 anytime soon. But as far as, Berlanga paying the toll to cross the bridge, I believe the person who he's going to have to pay the toll to is Daniel Jacobs, to be honest with you. Yeah, everybody's saying Jess Hart. I know everybody's saying Jess Hart. SB90, what's good? Salute to you, my brother. A lot of people saying Jess Hart. Is he ready for Jess Hart? Yeah, answer the question. Do you believe he's ready for Jess Hart? Let me know in the comment section. Do you believe Berlanga is ready for Jess Hart? I know he's coming off a loss with Joe Smith. You know what I'm saying? He's been fluctuating. He's been omitted. He has a win over Nicholson. All right. Let's get that straight. He has a win over Nicholson, right? Edgar Berlanga and also Jess Hart. Jess Hart knocked him out, though. Jess Hart knocked him out in the 7th round. He has a loss to Gilberto Ramirez, which Gilberto Ramirez is one of those guys that people sleep on. He's undefeated. He has, I believe, over 45 professional fights. I mean, this dude is pretty much a sleeper, I believe. It's only no, he has over 40 professional fights. But is Berlanga ready for Jess Hart? I would say that it would be a tough fight for him, man. He just lost a split decision to Joe Smith Jr. It would be a tough fight, but for Berlanga, real talk. Seriously, real talk. It'd be a tough fight because he went in there against Joe Smith Jr., who's a very tough blue collar boxer, man. This Jess Hart would definitely be a step up for him. It won't be the level change. It won't be to put him in the conversation for a title shot, because I'm telling you, he's gonna have to go through a Daniel Jacobs for that. Give or take. I know there's some other names on here, but just to be tough, man. Just look at it this way. Nicholson went the distance and he was knocked down 4 times. I consider Jess Hart to be a better boxer than Edgar Berlanga. But when it comes down to it, 2 different weight classes at the end of the day. People can talk all they want on YouTube and they can put these matchups and everything. But at the end of the day, you have to match up with somebody that's logical and beneficial to him continuing to move forward. Not giving him just a soft touch, but also allow him to get that work in, that experience, and that's a quality name. It's a lot of quality names at 168 for Berlanga's position that he can fight. We just have to see who they select and choose. Don't believe everything you hear out here on social media, man. People can say, "Oh, he needs to fight this, he needs to fight that." Hey, sure enough, but you know how it goes. Once you have people generating that support and that push behind you, and you become a popular name in the sport of boxing, what they do, you have so many people attempting to suggest who you should fight next, when that might not be the individual that you need to fight next. Yes, he got the win, but he still needs one more opponent that's decent, that's going to give him a good showing, but not at the top tier just yet. Because I truly believe he can get outboxed. He just need to work on versifying his attack and dig into the body a little bit more. Keeping the jab active and everything else that goes along with fighting on the inside, shooting those uppercuts, digging to the body head, like Tyson used to do. I mean, it's just so many angles he could use, but we didn't see. Most of the time when he was in close, he was just doing the same thing. Right foot back, create space, and then try to land that right hand. You can't do that with boxers who are going to move up out of there, who's going to shift their position and not going to allow you to have that amount of time on the clock to shift that right leg back and try to land that overhand right. You're not going to get that from the top tier fighters. They're not going to allow you the opportunity without themselves putting you in a trap. So that's something he's going to have to work on, bro. Daniel Jacobs and Berlanga have the same trainer again now at World Combat Sports. Yes, they do. They do. They did. They did. But you know how that goes. They did. Is Daniel Jacobs still with Andre Rozier? Didn't he leave him? So if he went back to Andre Rozier, if Daniel Jacobs is the gatekeeper, is the fight impossible? The fight shouldn't be impossible, regardless if they have the same trainer or not, man. I mean, what they're gonna do? Skip over Daniel Jacobs and fight somebody above Jacobs? Jacobs is across the board in the top 6 of every sanctioning body in that division. So he's going to skip over Daniel Jacobs and fight somebody else to try to get to that title shot. I would like to see him and Daniel Jacobs fight, whether they have familiarity with the same trainer in Rozier or not. It'll be good to see. That'd be a good matchup. That'd be a good changing of the guard. All that shit. Berlanga's up and coming. Daniel Jacobs has been to the championship tier already. That'd be a good fight for Berlanga. Very good fight. I have to do a little homework on the 168s, but if I was matchmaking, I like to have Berlanga back in the ring mid-August. I agree with that. Mid-August, keep him active. I agree with that, but with who though? That's a pretty decent name. Who could it be? You're gonna dig. See, with Berlanga, he's gonna have to fight back. He's gonna have to reach back instead of forward. That's what that is. Berlanga's next opponent, he's gonna have to reach back still. I don't think he's ready to reach forward. And they put him in there with somebody that's in front of him in the ranking system. I believe he's gonna have to reach back and probably fight another 2 fights at a lower ranking for a lower ranking opposition before he decides to say, okay, let me look through my windshield and see what's in front of me. Because he has a lot of tough names in front of him, man. And I don't see him reaching forward this year in 2021. He might be reaching backwards. grab somebody else from the bottom that is much more competitive than Nicholson, and let's see how that works out for him. But that's a good point there, Ken. Good point. D Hodges, what up, World Combat Sports? What's good, D Hodges? Salute to Yo G. Had in the building. Beyonce Jacobs is back with Rozier. Okay, if Jacobs is back with Rozier, cool. But I still like to see him and Edgar Berlanga fight, because I do feel that Jacobs is a gatekeeper right now. I feel that way. I feel that Jacobs is a gatekeeper right now. So Team Berlanga is going to have to figure that shit out, because Jacobs is a top name in the division. So the good thing about it is that he's not ranked in every sanctioning body. So therefore, you know, he has his pick at the WBA or the WBO. He has his pick. And with that said, he'll be able to avoid Jacobs to a point. But you know, like I said before that, Dion, the sanction bodies, they can basically manipulate and move boxers around whenever they fucking feel like it. But the only thing I'm saying about Berlanga is Daniel Jacobs is ahead of him, right in front of him in the WBA, and he's in front of him in the WBO. That's not to say that Berlanga isn't capable of being ranked in other sanctioning bodies such as the WBC and IBF. It's not impossible. But right now, he's ranked in the WBA and the WBO. And him and Jacobs would be a good, you know, that would be a solid passing of the guard type fight. When you talk about the 168-pound division, it's not a lot of notable names or, you know, fresh names that people want to see fight outside of the champions themselves. Like, I know we have Anthony Durrell over there. I know that. You know what I'm saying? But is he ready for David Lemieux? Shevchenko, you know, he's around, whoever that is. Steve Nelson. Do you want to see, is he ready for Caleb Truax yet? Because he's going to be reaching down now. Ronald Ellis. I think 2 more fights, man, with him reaching back for competition. I think that'll be more than reasonable to say for Edgar Berlanga. That's all. Appreciate that info there, Dion. Rozier stayed with Jacobs versus Derevyanchenko, though. But we will see how Rozier does it this time. They broke up one time. You know, they might break up again just to get the Berlanga fight. That's some pretty good money for Jacobs, too. If you look at it, Dion, that's pretty good money if Daniel Jacobs is to challenge Edgar Berlanga. That'd be real good money. Regardless, look, if it's either going to be a business or a friendship. You know, last time I checked, this motherfucker was a business. Roy, what's good? Alex says salute to WCS in the chat talking about Berlanga and Jacobs. It is a good fight in my books. That way we can really see what is Berlanga made of. It's not impossible for two fighters in the camp, you know, on the same coach to fight. They have to just, I mean, fighters source different training camps all the time. What's wrong with having a training camp somewhere else, you know, outside of Andre Rozier for one of those fighters? Daniel Jacobs has left before. What's wrong with him leaving again if that's the case? But when it comes down to him fighting a rising up and coming star in Berlanga, that'll be a good fight for both of these fighters. That'd be a good fight. I don't think they're just this best of friends. I don't think they have this bond that, oh man, we'll never fight each other, man. We're gonna respect one another. We'll never fight each. I don't think that's the case between Jacobs and Berlanga. Roy said, put some respect on Kamaru Usman's name. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Real talk. Yeah, they need to put. That was including myself. I started to put respect on Kamaru Usman's name. I kept it a buck. I kept it a buck, people. I started to put respect on it. Ronald Ellis, who just fought Benavidez, would be great. Yeah. And even then, that Dion, it would be great, like you said, that GR word. It would be great. But to be honest, I don't think he's ready for him. It'll be good. But when he goes in there with a boxer, someone who can box and doesn't have to really get in close and say, okay, well, I need to get in close to smother his punches because he does have power. If you get a boxer that's not afraid to be, the box at distance with Berlanga, and they have solid head movement and active jab, and they can put their punches together, that's gonna be trouble for Berlanga. You can freeze him up if you don't get within his gauge, his range for him to fire off his shots. That'll freeze him up to take punishment. That will freeze Berlanga up, man, because he has to be right at a certain distance to sit down on those punches. Andre Rozier needs to teach him how to punch in volume now. He has the power. Increase the volume of your punch combinations and learn how to use your footwork. Stop fighting flat-footed all the time so you can generate maximum power. Learn how to fucking box because your power is going to be there. It's not going anywhere. It's just not going anywhere for Berlanga. But I would say 2022, it'll be a good step up for him. Vladimir Shishkin from Showbox and Berlanga at the same level. They should fight. I wouldn't say they shouldn't fight. I'm unfamiliar as to who Vladimir is, to be honest with you. But if it's a fighter that would generate the interest, just like Nicholson did, because then too many people know who Nicholson is. They know who Jess Hart is, but they didn't know who Nicholson is. Do I believe he's ready for Jess Hart? I don't. I don't know why so many people are up here saying he should fight Jess Hart. Like Jess Hart is an easy motherfucking go. He should pause on that and fight somebody like a Vladimir, that you just talked about. Somebody that he's reaching back. He still has a way to go before he starts fucking with some of these top names in here, because he has the power, but he just needs to diversify his cachet, man. His offensive strategy. Everybody's ranting and raving about him going distance. That's cool. A lot of people go the distance. That's cool. But internal to that distance between the first and the 8th round, there is constructive criticism to be given. And Berlanga, wholeheartedly, I believe he will have no problem in improving those areas, those deficiencies that he has. He has no problem with that. He just needs to become a much more scarier fighter outside his power. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have one punch knockout power. They're always that one. Like when Bermane Stavern went the distance with Deontay Wilder, that didn't take away his power. It's just at that time, Bermane Stavern had the right game plan to survive, to get through, not survive and just running around the ring and stuff like that. I'm just saying he had the right strategy that day. The same with Berlanga. Just because he went the distance with Nicholson doesn't mean he won't go in there and knock out his next opponent. He just needs to, work on a few more areas so he can be a bit more scarier for his opponents. When they started looking at the real, they're going to see the same shit I'm seeing. Okay, if you're on the inside, he's definitely going to post up on that right foot and sit down in that right hand. And it's best you not be there when he sends it. You get a fighter that's active and being able to use that foot movement, exit out that corner or against the ropes, reset, and catch Berlanga, resetting himself, catch him in a bad position, you might be able to put him in trouble early. Throw him a Liam McCallum. I agree with that. Absolutely. But I thought Callum Smith was moving up the light heavy. I thought Callum Smith said he was done with super middle. He was moving up the light heavy. But Liam Smith, I really, do you think he's ready for Callum Smith that height? Because I can promise you, Callum Smith is not going to look the same way he did against Canelo. I can promise you that shit. That height and everything, I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. Callum Smith might come back in that motherfucker and look like a brand new fighter and fuck the game up. You know what I'm saying? He might come in that motherfucker looking like the champion that we assumed he was. You know what I'm saying? Before he stepped in there with Canelo Alvarez, that we assumed he was. But damn, those are some good names, though. Yeah, he need to start setting up his shots before he gas out. That's all I'm saying, Aaron. He needs to, he doesn't have to like generate all that power for the devastating knockout. He doesn't have to do that. He's blessed with that power, and his boxing isn't all that bad. It's just, he just need to add to the cachet a lot more. Like when he was in certain positions with Nicholson last night, I was pretty much predicting what's going to happen. Like I was assuming already that this is what he was going to do. And that's bad because I'm neither a trainer or a coach. So when he was in those positions, I was like, well, he's going to do this, this, and this. And sooner or later, that's what happens. And then every time he gets in close, when Nicholson park bench up against the rope, and you can see if Nicholson was throwing some shots on the inside, with his guard up, Berlanga would slide that right foot back and try to land that damn short inside right hook or overhand right. Just punch to the body. Give him that distractor. Punch to the body while you create space, and then set him up for something else. But I'm not a trainer or a coach, though. I'm just saying from what my observation told me. That's all. Fuck it, why not? They are fast tracking him anyway. Throw him a Liam or Callum. If he's ready for that fast track, to step in there with those individuals, okay, I get it. If they want to discard him like that, I think Callum Smith will not be the same Callum Smith that we've seen against Canelo. Callum Smith went the distance with Canelo Alvarez. I believe he will fuck Berlanga up. I don't see Callum Smith coming in there looking nowhere close to what he did against the fighter Canelo. Why? Because Berlanga isn't Canelo Alvarez. That would be a bad move to throw him in there with that dog. With that height and everything, I mean, man, Callum Smith looked like he's champion still. You know what I'm saying? That dude looked like he's a world champion right then on that night. And, I seriously think that would be a huge mistake for Team Berlanga to put him in there with the likes of Callum Smith right now, even with the loss to Canelo Alvarez. It's just bad. Illmatic in the building. Salute to you, bro. I like Berlanga, but I agree. He will have some trouble with an opponent who is shifty and has good chin. Will he have endurance? Will he have the endurance to go 12? Well said. Dion saying Liam McCallum, yes, two solid opponents. But those solid opponents, if they're fast tracking, they want to damn throw into the wolves, cool. And what Illmatic said, some trouble with opponents who is shifty. If you get an opponent that is able to change positions, use their mobility and stop being stationary for Berlanga, he's going to have to use up more energy. Along with using up that energy to lock in his opponent, or to basically slow him down a little bit to land some of those power shots. When you get there, you have to land those power shots. If you continue to miss some of the power shots like he was doing last night, that basically depletes your energy. For Berlanga, we really don't know how good his cardio is, because we can agree that Nicholson really wasn't this high-paced fighter. And like Illmatic said, he really wasn't that crafty, shifty, versatile fighter who was on the bicycle and was able to box and move, box and move, box and move. He was really standing there, stationary, allowing Berlanga to get off. But he wasn't a bum. Let's not get that misconstrued. He wasn't a bum. Absolutely not. But Berlanga was too set in his ways mid rounds to the late rounds. He was too set in his ways to try to fire off power shots every time he was in close. I mean, he just couldn't get away from it. He had the itis. That shit was motherfucking eating him alive. He's like, okay, cool. I made it out of the first round. I still want to stop this motherfucker. Learn how to shoot that uppercut, dog. Dig to the body. If you got power up top, you got it down low. Boom, stick that body, come up through the middle. And, come across. Body hook. Something. You got the power, dog. What's going on? Mark Nash in the building. Salute, man. That's good. So who can he fight then for a step-in competition? Have we seen enough of Edgar yet to even know his flaws? Some say his victory was making it out the first round. Well, the victory for Nicholson, if you want to say making it out with somebody who has very limited time, before his fight with Nicholson, very limited active time in the ring, closing out his fights in the first round. Yeah, he can say he earned 2 wins in one night. Nicholson, the first to take him out the first round, and Nicholson was the first to take him the distance. So he, it was somewhat like a cliche win-win situation for Nicholson. But at the end of the day, he did not win the fight. He lost a unanimous decision to Edgar Berlanga. So therefore, when it comes down to his win-win, he will be on record as being the first man to go the distance. So what the next 2 or 3 opponents are going to look at is this fight. And it's not going to be so much to praise what Nicholson did. It's going to be to evaluate what Edgar Berlanga didn't do. That's all that is. It's pretty much what Berlanga wasn't able to do in that fight. Not more so what Nicholson did. You know what I'm saying? Nicholson was tough. He got caught. He tried to smother Berlanga's punches. But sometimes if you're going to get in close on a fighter like Berlanga, so he's unable to land his power shots, you yourself has to be active. And Nicholson was active sometime, but not enough. He did move up out of there sometime. He did, use his footwork, change positions, reset, but it wasn't enough. And Berlanga couldn't have forced him, into those positions up against the ropes. I think he would have had extremely good success if he would have went to the body when Nicholson was parked up against the ropes a lot. But yet Berlanga somewhat just shifted, shuffle, ease his way within distance to try to land that power shot up top, especially when he hurt him. He said, okay, I can hurt this dude. Use the jab. Double up on the jab coming on, when you close distance on him. Touch him to the body, and then set him up for something. Even if he comes with the right hand after the jab, right? You don't have to go up top for a headshot. You can land that right hand to the body, then go up top. But you knew if he was doubling up on the jab, Berlanga's going to come over the top and try to, take his head off. Anybody could see that. This is the problem with the young fighter. Get a lot of early KOs. They don't sharpen their tools. That proves Coach Calvin underrated as a coach. Coach Calvin is underrated as a coach, primarily because Calvin, he has so many fighters. He's not getting recognition for the fighters that stand out under his charge. You know what I'm saying? Like, just say, for instance, Gervonta Davis. People tend not to give Calvin his just due because Floyd Mayweather goes over here and not Floyd Mayweather. Gervonta Davis goes over here and trains with Floyd Mayweather too. So it pretty much diminishes the full credibility of what Calvin Ford is doing for Gervonta Davis. People look at it like that. If you weighing options of Floyd Mayweather and looking at Calvin Ford, people are gonna look at Floyd Mayweather. Someone says victory was making it out of the first round. It proves. Let's see. This is the problem when a young fighter gets a lot of early KOs. They don't sharpen the tools. Well, he's with Andre Rozier, so we have to put some of the culpability on Rozier if he's not improving Berlanga, skill set. Just making him a dynamic striker, making him unpredictable, allowing him to be that much more dangerous with splitting the ropes. Right now, the one dangerous aspect to Berlanga's game is his power. If you can stay away from that right hand most of the time, slip and move, you can make it a distance with Edgar, and you can put him in trouble if you are a pretty decent boxer. You know what I'm saying? Crafty boxer. You can really, put some rounds away against Berlanga if you're smart. If you don't stand in the pocket and try to trade with him, because look, he's going to give you what you want. If you stand there and trade, Berlanga's going to give you power for power. He's going to start, using some, stand on his toes and using that footwork. You know what I'm saying? Using his mobility more. But man, that's up to Rozier, man. What do you think about Karan Davis and Berlanga? I think any fighter, like Karan Davis, is not an extremely high level fighter in the ranking system that we'll look at and say it's too much for Berlanga. I think if they believe that that's a solid opponent for him, skill for skill, and he can go in there and they can have confidence and continue to move him forward to his 18th victory, why not? Put him in there with him. But once again, some of these fighters, man, and you have all this sponsorship and push behind Berlanga, they want names. You know what I'm saying? Like they want the record and they want the name. Let me look some up right quick. I'm looking at out here, Karan Davis, just February this year, was in a draw with Anthony Durrell. I was assuming. I just wanted to double check. Shut it down, 26 years old. You know what I'm saying? 26-year-old, 15-2-1 with 6 knockouts. So he's more so, that boxer. Not too much of a power puncher, but his losses is to Patrick Day and Junior Castillo. Does have Mark Anthony Hernandez on there. Anthony Durrell is the one that he basically want to split decision with. So he has experience and what they're looking for Berlanga. He has experience, and you look at his two losses; they're being unanimous decisions. So that would be a solid opponent. If you look at it, that'd be a solid opponent. But as I look at it, let me look at some things right quick. Davis. See where he's at. It'll be a good name. It'll be a good name, man. 15-2-1. Not too much of a knockout fighter, but he can box. If his only two losses been unanimous decision losses. Let me check one other thing out right quick. Shout out to the late Patrick Day. Patrick Day pretty much swiped him though. He had a scorecard of 96-94, 98-92, and 97-93. That's some pretty comfortable cards right there. For the Anthony Durrell fight, it's 113-115. 115-113. 1-1 for both fighters, and then Zachary Young had it 114-114 for both fighters. So he's been in there with the likes of Anthony Durrell, which that's a bigger opponent than Edgar Berlanga has ever seen in his professional career. That'd be a tough fight for him. Be a good solid strap, man. Good shit, Dion. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was for Nicholson. Zachary Berlanga didn't show the body. He didn't show his body attack, man. Like, you always know he's gonna take that shot up top and try to knock his opponent head off. He needs to get away from that, become a bit more disciplined, a lot more disciplined, and becoming active with his punch combinations. He has the power, like I say several times before. He has that power. That ain't going anywhere. Just learn how to blend that power in with volume punches, and being able to present it from different angles. So the opposition that's fighting Edgar Berlanga, they're not going to come in there with the mindset is, okay, let me stand in front of him and I know what he's going to give me type of shit. If I stay there long enough, he's going to load up on his power shots. Have him split the ropes and not really have a clue of what you're going to do. Is he going to box? Is he going to give us that Sean Porter vibe? That's crazy for me to say that, but is he going to give us that Sean Porter vibe? You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter has proven that he can box different styles, and he can box aggressively when he needs to, and it's effective. And, he give you that Danny Garcia look, Sebastian Formella, or he can give you the Errol Spence work. He can give you that Adrian Granados work. He was headhunted, might be believing his own hype. Yeah, he might be. I mean, it is hype behind Berlanga. He does have power. You can tell when he throws his punches. Dude has some velocity behind that shit. And he's still young, a young lion in the game. So that shit's going to get better, in my opinion. Berlanga's power is going to get better. This is not going to be the final knockout of his career. But Berlanga moving forward in his life, they're going to improve some shit. And they're going to work on him on trying to train him how to set up his combinations better to bring the knockout to his doorstep. And then from there on, he can put his signature on it. Berlanga with another knockout. He's going to have to do that. Sign off on that bitch. Aaron Jones, I think too. I think so too. World Combat Sports. If he would have went to the body, that fight would have been over. Yeah, I agree, Aaron. If he would have just came in, especially when, Nicholson was park benching up against the ropes, just chilling and waiting for Berlanga to come in and catch him with a counter. If he just would have used his jab, or maybe when he came in, his first heavy shot was to the body, to pretty much take that wind out, and then shot that hook that he was looking for, or the overhand right, or the uppercut. I would like to see more uppercuts and more body work. I think that definitely would have changed the outcome and the rhythm of their fight. And he may have had a 17th knockout to basically complement 17 victories in his professional boxing career. Calvin had a lot of fighters and young fighters. Yeah, he does, man. Shout out to Uptown Jim over there and be more. If Berlanga could have cut the ring off better and work the body more, I believe he could have gotten him out of there. Yeah, I mean, there's so many scenarios on what he could have did. And just think about it. If y'all are coming up with all these scenarios on what Berlanga could have done better, imagine what his team is telling him. Imagine what his circle is telling him, you know, what he could have did. Because you get a crafty fighter that knows how to work and box, you know, with that real estate in between them, but yet still be effective. Berlanga's in trouble. He's in trouble. Left hooks to the body, lead jabs, uppercuts were almost absent from his repertoire. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. I totally agree. But we'll see, man. We'll see how that plays out. I really want to touch on the so-called how do I want to phrase this? Okay, we have combat sports in general, right? So we have the PFL with their tournament, and they have, you know, of course, the UFC putting on their fight cards. People need to understand the UFC, in a sense, is doing what it does. It's a promotion and it's putting on fights. One diamond that the UFC has with their fight cards is that they are providing the fans with championship bouts. Not one, not two, not three. Yes, they continue to host PPVs. And people are going to look at that fight card and they say, you know what? The main card alone with all these championship fights, I want to see it. I'm hearing a lot of on here is that you shouldn't even open yourself up to learn more about mixed martial arts. You need to be a hardcore boxing fan. So it's never going to be, just think of it this way. If you call yourself a hardcore boxing fan, what more is it to it? What more, what is the badges that you're going to earn? Like put it in the sense of video games. How many times have you heard people? I've heard people say, "Oh, you know, my name is so and so. I'm the lieutenant of boxing. I'm the general of boxing. I'm on the best out here to do it." It's no best at the boxing game, but you got to understand that mixed martial arts is here to stay. All right, their format is different because they have a promotion for which their belt system is basically delegated from. They're every now and then it's an interim title. But besides that, it's no gold, silver. It's no intercontinental, international. There's just the super champion, and then there's the interim champion. That's all it is. But the positive aspect about what mixed martial arts is doing with Bellator, UFC, they are allowing fighters who lose to work themselves back into title contention over a short grade of time. So you might lose once and then you fight 2 or 3 more times within what, a 6-month period. You may find yourself back into title contention. That's why people are tuning into it. That's why you have a lot more people going over there to mixed martial arts, because boxing, you have to understand this, boxing is soiled with the S word. It is extremely belt saturated. It is super saturated with belts. But if you find boxers that's going to come over here, well, boxing channels rather, and they're going to criticize mixed martial arts, you're wasting your breath. Mixed martial arts is not the UFC. The UFC is a promotion who promote the sport of mixed martial arts. Let's get it straight. If you're going to talk about mixed martial arts, at least familiarize yourself with the history and actually understand what you're watching. I'm not saying I'm the best at it. I'm just saying that I hear channels over here. They want to speak on the big cards, right? But if you tune in to them, they're not even speaking about mixed martial arts. They're speaking about something totally different. And then they attempt to speak on mixed martial arts as if you're talking about someone throwing a 1-2. So getting to the UFC 261, let's start off with Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall and my boy Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman's been in there with the top names. He's out of the Matt Serra, Tulich. I mean, he's been in there with the likes of Anderson Silva. And this is going to be one of my points of preface, his fight with Anderson Silva. He stepped in there with Uriah Hall yesterday, and within the first round, Uriah Hall loaded up, his lead leg to defend a front kick from Chris Weidman. And once Chris Weidman landed that kick, he snapped the shin clean in half. Clean in half. I mean, it was Sid Vicious off the top rope all over again. It was Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, all over again, people. This, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, wow, Chris Weidman knocked out Anderson Silva legitly. He was playing around, he was knocked out. And for the rematch, Chris Weidman is like many ways to check a kick. You can raise your leg, you can raise your leg up and take the force off the kick, or you can plant heavy on the lead leg and that will absorb the kick. It depends on who's kicking you, first of all. So when I seen Chris Weidman check Anderson Silva's kick and he snapped his leg in half, I say, oh shit, Anderson Silva, man, he's gonna be out so long. Well, this is exactly the same thing that comes full circle with Chris Weidman. Uriah Hall checked this kick by keeping his lead leg planted, anchored. He was heavy on the lead leg. He's seen the kick coming, and once that kick landed, you can clearly see the shin snaps in half of Chris Weidman. Once he reset and attempted to plant that rear foot after the kick, it just crumbled. He was in pain. Now he know that his leg was broken. I mean, it was a clean break, y'all. All the way through the shin, clean break. He's going to have screws put in there. He's going to be out. Oh my God, for so long. And then with his age and everything, I'm curious, how long he was out to make his, appearance again, to going through this. That might have been his last fight. Seriously, that might have been his last fight. I'm not sure. But I just put that shit together right away. I said, wow, Chris, I was looking forward to this fight. Uriah Hall has been known to kind of lose his mental blade in there, just lose focus. He's just been known to have a sense of anxiety in the cage. So I was like, shit, Chris Weidman, he's always confident. And you can tell he was the first one. Boom, he took the lead, executed that front kick, low calf kick. And Uriah Hall, oh man, he checked it very, very nice and snapped Chris Weidman's leg. He didn't do it, but he did plant it. You can see how he planted that shit really, really solid. And Chris Weidman snapped his shin in half. Anyway, moving on, man. Hope all the best to Chris Weidman. Moving on, though. I was puzzled. I was like, damn. Valentina Shivchenko is the flyweight champion at 1.25, right? 125-pound division. I truly believe, I thought that she was going to be the co-main event, but she wasn't. I don't know why Valentina Shivchenko doesn't get that love, because she gives you everything you want in a female fighter. That's clearly a bona fide assassin in the sport of combat. She gives you everything. She gives you striking. She has a a kickboxing background. She's very lethal. She gives you hands, feet. She can work the clinch game. Man, once she get into the body lock, her body lock is so strong right now. It's unfucking believable. Her wrestling has came full fucking circle, as you seen with Jessica Andrade yesterday. Oh, she was able to take down Jessica at will. And anybody who knows, once Valentina starts to dominate her opponent in top position, she will attempt to isolate that far arm and lock in a crucifix. Once she locks in that free arm, it prevents that opponent from being able to punch her or even adjust their position, turn into Valentina Shivchenko and try to post up and make it, get back to their feet. But Jessica Andrade, man, Valentina locked in her left arm with her legs. It's difficult to get up out of there, even if you shift your hips out. And then the other arm, Valentina had basically restrained it too, preventing her from doing anything with her arms. She was almost like fully incapacitated while Valentina started to throw elbows, rain elbows, elbow strikes down on her face. Solid elbow strikes. And the referee gauged it, looked, gave her ample time to attempt to, change positions or improve her position, and she wasn't able to do it. And it was such a dominating performance for Valentino. She's the first championship fight of the three on the main card. She is dominant. But people always put her behind Amanda Nunes because she lost to Amanda twice. I thought Valentina won the rematch, but she has lost to a woman who is the bantamweight and the featherweight champion at the time right now. So she's going to be a step behind her in popularity. So in order for her to kind of somewhat cement her legacy as the best, she needs to move back up to bantamweight division like Jessica Andrade just did. Jessica Andrade lost her last fight to Weili Zhang at strawweight. So she moved up to flyweight and fought Valentina Shivchenko, and she was stopped. So Valentina Shivchenko should move back up to bantamweight briefly, have a fight with Amanda Nunes because she's improved too, and they need to get it on. If she's able to defeat Nunes, she goes down as the best women's mixed martial art of all time in the UFC. Because right now they're saying Nunes is the GOAT. Anyway, next fight. My girl Thug Rose Namajunas. Anybody that was listening to my live, the millions that was in the building, I told them, I said, I'm going for Thug Rose. And then, I had my peeps, no shots. I had my peeps saying, hey, they believe that Weili Zhang striking is levels above. And I was saying, no way, no how, man. Thug Rose, one thing she has is footwork. I like how her footwork complements her striking, whether it be from her punches or her kicks. It complements each other transparently to her opponent. She doesn't give you any type of loading process, any of that. It's like that shit just is there. It's almost like Holly Holmes. Holly Holmes can kick you without actually planning and giving you the signal, hey, I'm about to throw this high kick. So therefore, the fight starts with the fight begins after the introduction with the currently reigning defending champion, Chinese champion Weili Zhang, who defeated Jessica Andrade, who had just defeated Thug Rose. Now, once again, how my analytics is of these fights, I just look at the type of fighter and how they lost. I look at Thug Rose making a mistake to sustain a body lock in which she should have released to prepare her for the slam from Jessica Andrade, and then she could have readjusted once she was on the ground for a better position. But yet she held the body lock and she was knocked unconscious. All right. So I took that And I looked at Jessica Andrade heading into that fight with Zhang, and I knew that she was going to try to dominate her. She's going to try to use that power and try to knock her ass out. So what Zhang do? She pretty much did the same thing. She said, let's see who has the most power tonight. Let's see who has the damn heavier hands. And Jessica was stopped in the first round. Now, heading into this fight, this rematch, people saying that, oh, well, she defeated Jessica Andrade, who defeated Thug Rose. But yet you have to understand that the mistake that Thug Rose made against Andrade, it says a lot about her heading into this fight with Weili Zhang, because she isn't going to go in there and go power for power, with punching, punch for punch with the champ. That's not how Thug Rose fights. She can, insert her punching along with her kicks, and that shit is so clear. You know what I'm saying? That shit is so nicely put together. And that's what happened yesterday. She gave her some feints. She has this amazing footwork, man, that she moves around, give you that rhythm, get you in that rhythm. Boom. She kicked her in the head, y'all. Now, the only other person I've seen that has, that footwork, I'm not saying that can woe you to sleep. The only other fighter that I'm saying that has that's a champion, that has that setup power without giving you any sign, is pretty transparent, fluent, is Valentina Shivchenko. Her head kick knockout is amazing. The way she put Jessica I out, oh my God. Thug Rose kicked Weili Zhang dead in her goddamn right jawbone. Kicked her in the head. Boom! She falls back. Thug Rose is on her ass. It's up to me to continue until the ref pull her off. It's super necessary. And she gets the win, and Zhang is still dazed and confused and gets up and she's all upset. No, it was a clear, definitive knockout. Your ass was going to sleep and you was unconscious and unable to defend yourself. Damn good victory. 2-time women's world strawweight champion, Thug Rose Namajunas, man. Real talk. That's my favorite female fighter in the game right now. Real talk. I knew she'd be back. I even said it on my live. I said she'll be back. Now to the main event, which everybody's talking, Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal, y'all. Line killer in the building. Salute to you. Line, when people sit up here and lie to themselves that Jorge Masvidal has what it takes, right? It's not like he hasn't had the opportunity before to prove that he's an elite fighter. He had plenty of opportunities. But there was something missing from Jorge Masvidal, man, to take him to the next level. It wasn't a three-piece that he gave Leon Edwards backstage. I mean, he looked good against Nate Diaz, but a lot of people look good against Nate Diaz. I mean, Conor McGregor even came back and defeated him in the rematch. But this was the fight for Jorge Masvidal to prove that he himself is different than all the other fighters that has the amount of experience that he does in mixed martial arts. It was his time to prove his legendary status from street fighting to mixed martial arts. His song and dance was that he took fights that he shouldn't have been in earlier, and he wasn't ready yet. That's why he has the amount of losses that he has on his record, right? He comes in here with Kamaru Usman, who's on a tear. He took the belt off Tyron Woodley. He broke Kobe Covington's jaw. He defeated freaking Jorge Masvidal when Gilbert Burns caught COVID-19. He comes back and fights a multi-time BJJ world champion in Gilbert Burns, and he knocks him out. We're talking about a fighter who's a former stablemate of Kamaru Usman. He stops him. This wasn't a wrestling game. This wasn't a grappling game. He knocks him out. So he goes in here for a rematch with Jorge Masvidal. It is time. It is here for Jorge to prove that he's an elite fighter. This is the guy to do it. Kamaru Usman is on a tear right now. He is basically solidifying his legacy as one of the best welterweights to ever do it. This is a guy who I criticize extensively that he was boring as shit. He used to always say, oh, that's 30%. That's 30%. I'm only going 30%. Well, I'm like, fuck it. Go 150% then. Usman has came. Oh, my God, he's improved leaps and bounds. This dude is looking unstoppable. Let's first and foremost look at his physique. So the Africans is taking over. We have Israel Adesanya. We have Francis Ngannou just knocking out freaking Stipe Miocic. And then you have Kamaru Usman with his pops in the building. He's coming in there and he knocks out Jorge Masvidal, man, with one of the cleanest right hands that you will see in combat sports. It was fucking vicious. Oh my God. It was vicious. It was perfectly timed. It was well placed. And the delivery was beautiful. What is Masvidal going to say now? He gets no rematch. He gets no rematch. Period. He's done. Usman fucked him up. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He fucked up Gilbert Burns. No question. He fucked up Kobe Covington. And he fucked up Tyron Woodley. I think Tyron Woodley, he received the least damage of all the people once Kamaru Usman picked up the belt. He received the less damage. Now the question is, Kamaru Usman's name is in the bracket when you talk about being in the bracket of names like Khabib Nurmagomedov. You know what I'm saying? Now he's going to be in the bracket of the second tier so-called GOAT status in these midweight divisions. Like Khabib is contending at 155, all right, when he was contending, right? So now Kamaru Usman is a weight class above lightweight. We're not going to get Khabib Nurmagomedov to defend, to move up and attempt to defend and fight Kamaru Usman. Kamaru is just too big for Khabib. I'm not saying Khabib couldn't get it done. I'm just saying Kamaru's wrestling ability is just sick. He has a crazy foundation when it comes to wrestling. So what's next for Kamaru? What's next? He needs to fight Kobe Covington again. He's not ducking Kobe Covington. It's some other shit that's going on with money and all this other shit with Covington. But when it comes down to wrestling, wrestler per wrestler, yes. Boxing versus boxing, yes. I think one of the premier fighters right now who he's been in the cage with is Kobe Covington. They need to run that back. And that will determine a lot about Kamaru Usman when it's all said and done with him cleaning up the damn division. Conor McGregor's not moving up to fuck with Kamaru Usman. Khabib Nurmagomedov is not moving up to fuck with Kamaru Usman. Who is going to fuck with him? Who's going to fuck with him at 170? Who are we looking at? You know, matter of fact, let's check some shit out. King Mitch in the building. What's good? I was worried for my baby Thug Rose. What? I thought Jay would target the nose, amazing head kick and hammer fist. Game over. I thought Mitch, I could have sworn, Mitch, you might have been the one that was up here saying that James striking is level above Thug Rose. I could have sworn that was you, bro. Valentina Nunez and Thug Rose levels above the rest of the women in UFC. Absolutely, man. I truly believe that we're at a point right now, and I'm about to pull up something right quick. Y'all bear with me. We're at a point right now with the women's championship. It's very exciting. And man, it's going to get them mad exposure. Like the women's mixed martial artists is just swamping women's boxing. It's swamping them, man. It's left them behind. And look, the women only have 4 divisions. They have the strawweight, lightweight, bantamweight, featherweight. They have 4 freaking divisions, man. But peep this out though. So the strawweight division, Carla Esparza, Mackenzie Dern, she's not ready for Rose Namajunas. We talking about the BJJ world champion, right? But her boxing is just, oh my God. Her boxing is terrible. And she's gonna need that against Namajunas. I can't see anybody. Claudia Cordelia, I can't see it. Michelle Waterson, she's already beat. Claudia Cordelia, she's already beat. Tisha Torres, she's defeated already. Amanda Ribas, Angela Hill. I mean, Rose is the top. Now, what Dana White may do, I'm gonna tell you what Dana White may present here. Since Wally Zhang has not defeated Thug Rose Namajunas, they might give him a rematch. Even her being knocked out in the first round, Thug Rose is pretty exciting in rematches. She look, Dana White, once again, you talking about a person who follows this shit. Dana White gave Joanna Jędrzejczyk a rematch after being knocked out in the first round by Thug Rose. So therefore, this is no different. She knocked out Wally Zhang early, and Dana White may present her with a rematch. Yes, sir. That may happen. That may happen. But the women's champion right now, oh my God, that's a tough trio to deal with. You have Rose Namajunas, Valentina Shivchenko, and then the bantamweight and featherweight women title holder Amanda the Lioness Nunes. Those 3 right there are solid. Super duper solid. They still have work to do. But that lineup of champions, man, that shit is super solid. But anyway, back to my boy Masvidal. He had the opportunity to basically prove to the world that he was an elite fighter. He could be world champion, and getting knocked out. Like how does this happen? I know it's a fight game, but how does this happen? You come in on short notice and you go the distance. You have a full 6 weeks and you tell Kamaru Usman you're going to knock his head off, and you come in here and get stopped. That means that Kamaru Usman, what's going on in his laboratory is much more potent than what's going on in Jorge Masvidal's fight camp. Because that right hand was so, oh man, it was surgical. It was extremely surgical. No anesthesia. He got the full raw effect of Kamaru Usman's perfectly landed right hand. I mean, I'm talking about knocking the spit out of his mouth. And Kamaru Usman goes up here and said, I can't stop punching until the ref pulls me off. It was super necessary. Jorge Masvidal experienced karma from Ben Askren. He did. That's what that was. And, you know, I'm rarely a person that you will hear talk about karma. I don't believe in karma. I don't. If something happened, it happens. I don't believe in karma, though. I have my reasons, but I don't believe in karma. But check this out. Karma met Jorge Masvidal. The reason why I'm saying that he was on such a high from a 5-second knockout, and that knockout will be in the record books for quite some time. But the way he was knocked out was damn near similar to Ben Askren. It might not have been in 5 seconds, but he was knocked out cold. Not only was he knocked out cold, but his opposition, aggressively landed extra strikes, clean strikes, while Jorge Masvidal was unconscious. The same thing that Jorge Masvidal executed on Ben Askren. It was karma. I bet Ben Askren, behind closed door with his wife, when he seen that shit, he was probably, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Even though Ben Askren was just stopped by Jake Paul. You know, Ben Askren's probably looking like, yeah, that's what you get, sucker. That's what you get. See, Ben Askren's last fight on Triller was not a championship fight. This was Jorge Masvidal's championship opportunity with a full fight camp. He couldn't get it done the first time. Now he's back and he gets knocked out clean. Not only that, Kamaru Usman pounces on him. Pop, 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 hammer strikes. And the referee stops the fight. Jorge Masvidal is knocked out clean. He's knocked out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. One of the cleanest right hands, laser right hands that you would ever see in UFC highlight reels. One of the cleanest right hands. Oh my God. What's next for Jorge Masvidal? I don't fucking know, bro. Jorge Masvidal is indeed a gatekeeper. Jorge Masvidal is a journeyman. There's a lot of dudes that cannot fuck with Jorge, but there are a lot of dudes at the top of the food chain that can. And that's where he's at right now. Real talk. That's where he's at. Aaron, Joe Rogan was trying his best to hype Masvidal. They wanted Masvidal to win that belt. MMA guys seem to fall for that jab, then right hand. That's the same shot that Jake Paul knocked Ben Askren out with. And that's a good attention to detail. And the reason why that is, Aaron, because the striking dynamic is different. Like in boxing, you throw a 1-2, you're not really anticipating your opponent to slip up underneath, change levels, and go for a single double. When you are remediating and training a certain combat style, you're training mixed martial arts. The boxing is absolutely different training in mixed martial arts than it is in the sport of boxing. When you're just a boxer, vice someone who's training mixed martial arts, the setup and the delivery is different than putting on 8 to 10 ounce gloves or whatever and just focusing on the hands. You have to worry about kicks. You have to worry about your opponent. Do they have wrestling attributed to their cachet? You have to take all that in consideration. That's why they don't overly commit on some of their shots like that. And then you can get a fighter who's not worried. Like Kamaru Usman's not worried about a takedown. He's not worried. He's not worried about BJJ because his takedown defense is so good. So therefore, when he fully committed on that 1-2, he wasn't worried about Masvidal slipping underneath like Khabib Nurmagomedov did with Conor McGregor. He's not worried about none of that shit. That's why he can fully commit to that damn right hand, and it was laser. It was sharp. It was sharp. It was punctual. It was full of authority. And it was brutal. It was brutal. When you get hit clean like that with 4-ounce gloves and you survive that shit like Diego the Nightmare Sanchez, Clay Guida, when they was kicking each other, head kicking motherfuckers, and they still getting off the canvas, they taking shin kicks to the head. And here you go, Jorge Masvidal takes a right hand and he's out cold. And then he gets hit with extra hammer shots. And Kamaru Usman said it was super necessary. Oh my God, that's a fucking classic, man. It's a classic, dog. Jesus Christ. So what's next? Will Kamaru Usman move up to middleweight sooner or later and fight for the championship belt to become champ? He needs to. Seriously, he needs to. Now, once again, let's not put all this African stuff. And we work together. We're countrymen. We don't want to hear that shit. Kamaru Usman, he's going to have another opponent, whether it be Kobe Covington, whoever. If he wins that fight, he needs to move up to middleweight, 185, and fight Israel Adesanya for the championship. You know, they allow Henry Cejudo to do it. You know what I'm saying? They allow TJ Dillashaw to do it. They allow plenty individuals to do it. I mean, just think about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor went from 45 to 70 and back down to 55. And he earned a belt, 2 belts in the process. He didn't take a tune-up. He went straight to Eddie Alvarez right off the rip. Boom, boom. He's 2-weight champion, the first to do it in the UFC. What about Daniel Cormier? DC went up and moved up to heavyweight. He didn't get a tune-up fight. He went straight to Stipe and knocked him out in 1 round. So why can't Kamaru Usman think about that? Put that shit in your schedule. Move up to middleweight, face Israel Adesanya, and let's see who's the baddest. Now, that'll be a good matchup. But you know what? I think Kamaru Usman can beat Israel Adesanya. I think Kamaru Usman understands that he can beat Israel Adesanya. And it's going to all be orientated around the wrestling. Because we seen what happened between Israel Adesanya and Juan Blachowicz. That big dude was able to take Israel to the canvas, take him down, and he really couldn't do much. What do you think Kamaru Usman is going to do with Adesanya? His wrestling is much, much better than Juan Blachowicz. That's the real. Now he needs to start thinking about GOAT status. There's only one GOAT status in the UFC right now. That's John Jones. The second GOAT status I will have to, implement in there that people tend to forget is Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. We have to give him his props for 11 title defenses. We have to recognize that shit. We have to recognize that. And then third, there can be many people, but people looking at it like Kamaru Usman. I mean, not Kamaru Usman. Khabib Nurmagomedov. And they're not looking at the fact that if you look at Khabib's resume, it's okay. Yes, he defeated the Conor McGregors. Conor McGregor came to the UFC with 2 losses. First of all, he defeated the Conor McGregors. He defeated Al Quinta in a match for the vacant lightweight title. All right. He didn't defeat a champion to become lightweight champion. He fought for the vacant title. He defeated Justin Gaethje's, the Dustin Poiriers. You know what I'm saying? He's been in there with the Edgar Berlanga, the Essen Barbosas, Michael Johnsons. You know what I'm saying? He's been in there with some top names, but is what Khabib did, does it supersede what Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson was able to do just because he was at flyweight? I mean, we have to take that in consideration. People are just looking at the now because he's in one of the middleweight classes, and they're not looking at what Demetrius Johnson was able to do while he was reigning champion. The only person that was able to defeat Mighty Mouse at that time was in a totally different division, 135, and that was Dominique Cruz. So now Kamaru Usman has to think about legacy. He has to think about, there's a trend going on with the DCs, with the Conor McGregors, with the Amanda Nunez's. There's a trend that's going on that Israel Adesanya couldn't complete. There's a trend going on with Henry Cejudo. They're picking up belts in multiple divisions. What was perceived to be impossible is now possible. That goes for the UFC and Bellator. Ryan Bader, light heavyweight champion, heavyweight champion. It is possible to be a champion in multiple divisions at the same time. So now, in order for Kamaru Usman to separate himself and put his name in the class of others who are considered to be great in mixed martial arts, he has to fight in a different division. I don't see him going down to 155 and fighting Khabib, even though the money would be great. And Khabib is 29-0. I think he should really think about fighting his boy Israel Adesanya. I think his chances are good, to be honest. I truly believe his chances are good. Tone Brown in the building. Salute to you. Tone Brown in the building. Aaron Jones, good comment. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not sure if you all seen this or not. But check this out, though. DC, who is a legend of the game of mixed martial arts, absolutely. If there's anybody I want to interview in mixed martial arts, it would be Daniel Cormier, period. DC is one of those guys who will absolutely fuck you up. You may catch him on a bad day looking all fat and chubby, and he's walked around with that body composition like that for ever and a day. He was whooping ass looking like that, right? So this shit with Jake Paul has been making his rounds. And the shit that happened between Jay Love and Tyron Woodley back there, where he was saying, young champ, you don't know about these gloves. You don't know about this. You don't know about that. But listen, DC went into the crowd and see, I don't know if Dana White's going to say anything about it because it's Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? But usually when some shit like that happen, like they reprimanded Dan Hardy for talking shit to somebody. He was working with the UFC. He got let go. He criticized a fighter leaving the cage off something he did. So therefore, DC goes and confront Jake Paul face to face. He tells him, keep your name out my motherfucking mouth. And Jake Paul, of course, he takes to the social media and he says, no, DC had my name in his mouth. That's what it was. He had his name in he had my name in his mouth. So that's what started it all. And plus, you know, the mixed martial arts guys are sticking together. I like that. Like they didn't appreciate, you know, Jay Love and you know what was going on with him and Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley was able to successfully defend his title 4 times against elite competition in the UFC. That's period. That's fact. 2 times against Wonderboy Thompson, Damian Maia, Darren Till. And then he stepped in there for a 5th time against Kamaru Usman and he lost. So what I'm trying to say is Jake Paul had the nerve to say, if you want to fight me, sign the dotted line. I'm saying to myself, you are at cruiserweight, homie. Isn't that what you fighting at, cruiserweight? You wanna blow up Ben Askren? You're at cruiserweight, homie. Daniel Cormier is fought at heavyweight, not just in the UFC, but in neighboring organizations, and he dominated the tournament. He allowed his boy Cain Velasquez to compete at heavyweight. That's why he was sucking down weight to compete at light heavyweight, because it was respect. But for Jake Paul to come out his lips and say, hey, if you want to fight, sign the dotted line, DC will fuck you up with boxing gloves on. You might talk about his cardio, I mean, his way he look and everything. DC has been fighting like that forever and a day. There's certain individuals in the universe of mixed martial arts that will fuck DC up, and Jake Paul isn't one of them. DC's mentality inside his domicile is different than the way he's acting like a goofball behind the mic and, you know, just being himself and being a little comedic with his commentary. But make no mistake about it, this guy is not going to drop down below a weight that he never competed in mixed martial arts, Jake Paul. Come on, bro. Be smart. Do you even watch mixed martial arts? How are you going to sit up there and make a fool of yourself and say, well, he needs to drop down? I mean, not drop down. If you want to fight me, son, what are you going to do? Move up to his weight? The man never fought below 205 in the UFC, bro. In mixed martial arts, period. Are you willing to go up to 205? Are you willing to go to heavyweight status to fight DC, who's a bigger name than you? I'm pretty sure Triller would sign it, but you know who's gonna be the B side when it comes down to it? You're gonna be the B side. It doesn't matter what your paycheck is looking like. When you go in there against DC, a two-weight world champion. You think DC is gonna drop down below 205 to fight you? I mean, you have to be out your damn mind. And it's just certain things that goes along with this social media shit, like listening to Jake Paul get all this hype from once again knocking out Ben Askren. It's just certain things like Jake Paul should just go into seclusion and just chill. Let everybody talk about where he at, ask questions, this, that, and the other. He showed his face at UFC 261. Nobody wasn't looking for this dude. He was sitting next to Antonio Brown, who just was able to get his football career restarted. You need to stay from in front of the cameras until you fight a true, legitimate boxer. A legitimate boxer. You just need to stay away from the camera, because if you think you're ready to step in there with DC, he will fuck you up. This is not an old over the hill, hip replacement, a heart transplant. None of this shit. If you want DC to come over there to Triller and fight you, Jake Paul, it will be to your detriment. It will be your demise, period. You're not going in there landing a shot on DC in the second round as if he's Ben Askren. Ben Askren never had the boxing that DC has. And the way DC boxes is quite different than what you would see in the boxing ring. But he will touch you. He's smart enough. He will, at certain points in the fight, be able to reach out and touch you. And when he touch you, you're going to feel what Stipe Miocic felt. You're going to feel what Anthony Johnson felt. Ask Alexander Volkov how it felt. I'm going to leave that right there. Jake Paul is getting a little ahead of yourself if you think at any given time that you want to walk up in the gym because you got your team with you, and you walk up into the gym over there with DC, and you really want that smoke. That's why DC came up to you and put his hand in your face. Where was your boys then? Seriously, where was your boys then? When DC had his hand up in your face, he said, keep my name out your fucking mouth. Why didn't you push DC? Because you know he would have picked your ass up and slam you. And DC was probably thinking about his family. He said, you know what? I'm not going to fuck this guy up today. I don't want to lose my commentating job. And the good thing about it, Dana White probably would have forgave him. You know what I'm saying? DC has done a lot for the damn, promotion and the company. He's a corporate dude. So, Dana White say, hey, don't worry about it. I saw what happened. You slammed him on the fucking head. That's what you get for having such a big fucking mouth. Go ahead and handle your business. I'll take care of the rest. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Is the fight a solid one? Is Eddie Hearns out here just feeding the general public air? Is he doing that again? Because Eddie Hearns loved to start to crack his lips open, and he loves to talk about shit and bloviate the numbers. Once again, I'm not saying the fight can't happen, but is the fight going to happen? I'm hearing they might get paid $70-some million, which sounds good in print. It looks good. It sounds good. In print, it looks very, very well. And also, they're talking about PPV and all that. The site fee over there in Saudi Arabia was $60 million. Are they actually going to fight? Has anybody on here pulled up BoxRec or pulled up any type of news source and they provided you that date? Let me do it myself. Hold on, let me do it myself. Because I just have to, double check and do some site evaluation. Let me see. So go on here and see if it happened. It might be on here. I mean, let me pull this shit up right quick. I want to see if it's out here. Every time, I'm hearing all these groups and social media, they keep hyping it up that this fight is done deal. This fight is a done deal. Tyson Fury 30-0-1. So let me bring this up. Drum roll. Oh my God. People, I just pulled up Tyson Fury's BoxRec. And the last fight he had was February 2020, Deontay Wilder. I need for somebody in the live chat to bring me another source that has a date up here for Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. I just need some type of validation that the fight is indeed true. Because I keep hearing it, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing any promo on it. I'm not seeing anything. It's just all of a sudden they had 30 days. Boom. If there's not 30 days, Tyson Fury's walking away. The shit's over. 30 days come and go, and the bullshit stays right in place. And they now said, okay, after careful consideration of the expiration, we have now come to a conclusion that Saudi Arabia would be the venue. Good old Saudi. And the site fee is $60 million. So therefore, we salute everybody for their patience. And we do consider everyone's opinion, but we really don't give a fuck on whether you think this fight is happening or not. So therefore, I look at it like this. WCS is saying, like, when I pull up BoxRec, I'm just not able to find a S there. It's no schedule. It is April. It's about to be May. When is this damn fight happening? It's supposed to be for the heavyweight undisputed, for all the marbles. We have so many channels talking about this shit. I'm going to talk less of it today. I just want to see, can anybody present me any, current information that says that the fight is going to happen on the date that they said. Nobody? Okay, cool. All right, cool. And my last topic is going to be Emmanuel Navarrete drops Christopher Diaz 4 times, y'all. Christopher Diaz tried. He tested Emmanuel Navarrete. He showed that he was a tough fighter for Navarrete. Navarrete just was too much for Diaz. I appreciate the fight. I'm not gonna lie. For him to get stopped in the 12th round, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought it was gonna be quicker than that. But for him to stop Diaz in the 12th round, I was like, okay. I mean, just look at it. Speaking of fighters who totally understand they're not knockout artists, they're not one-punch knockout artists, is Emmanuel Navarrete. Emmanuel Navarrete will work out. He will work you out, and end up earning the knockout. That's what Navarrete does. Look at his 2 fights with Isaac Dogbay. Just look at it. He provides you with residual punishment, remediates it over and over and over again, and he works for the knockout. I love it. Hold on one second. Yes, sir. So, shout out to Emmanuel Navarrete, man. He fought a damn good fight, and it was expected for him to. I was expecting a knockout, but I was expecting it to be earlier. But shout out to Christopher Diaz for a hanging in there as long as he possibly can against a fighter like Navarrete, who, in my opinion, I like his style, man. He has a unique boxing style. It seems like he's doing a lot of things wrong, but he's blessed to be able to do it that way. That's why Diaz say he's Navarrete is a great fucking fighter. He hits hard, but see, Navarrete doesn't give you. He doesn't send the signal as if he's that knockout artist and shit like that. He doesn't come in there and load up on shots. He works that shit up to the knockout, and I like Navarrete, man. I like how he goes in there and get it done for real. I like how he goes in there to get it done. Dylan White is talking about, Ngannou is scared, nothing special. I beat him in MMA or boxing. Now, I'm a very this when it comes to being a critic of Dylan White, this. I'm a very punctual critic of Dillian White, but he has a point in saying that Ngannou is scared and he'll beat him in MMA or boxing. Now, I believe 50% that he definitely will beat Ngannou in a boxing match because both of these guys will go in there and leave it all in there. And boxing wise, I have to give credit to who's the better boxer in Dillian White. Dillian White was a previous kickboxer. So being that Francis Ngannou doesn't implement kicks as much in the heavyweight division, Dillian White being a kickboxer, it kind of negates itself. It negates the takedowns and everything, right? I'm not saying Ngannou wouldn't take White down, but White was a former kickboxer. White is a current boxer. So if him and Ngannou was to lock up, you're talking about two guys who's known for their hands, and every now and then, Francis Ngannou would execute a kick. It's not like Dillian White doesn't know how to kick. He practiced kickboxing outside of the ring. You just don't hear people talking about it as much. So let's put 4-ounce gloves on both of these guys, and somebody's going to sleep. So if Dillian White believes that he'll defeat Francis Ngannou in MMA, he will truly have to prove it. But when it comes down to it, they will test his takedown defense. That's just how it works. Randy Couture, when he was in there with James Toney, what did he do? Randy Couture changed levels immediately and took him down. He wasn't in there to see if he can get put to sleep. He knew James Toney was deconditioned and he wasn't ready for that takedown. The same is going to be for Dillian White. But the two pluses I have for him, that he will be very competitive in both MMA and boxing if he was to fight Francis Ngannou. When it comes down to the fighting styles, both of these fighters pretty much use their hands and every now and then their feet. What's going to separate them is the in-between on Ngannou changing levels for a takedown, single, double, and taking them to the ground. That's when it's going to get difficult for Dillian. That's all. And the same thing with Ngannou. Ngannou has power. You know what I'm saying? He has power, but yet he's going to be in there with a true heavyweight boxer in Dillian White. So with bigger gloves on and everything, can he generate the power he need? Can he execute his offensive strategy to affect Dillian White in the boxing ring? Believe it or not, people will pay to see that fight. Believe it or not. Why? Because both of these guys are at the top tier, so to speak, in their combat sports, in their competing combat sports. So yeah, people pay and see that. I like Navarrete, but he does beat Gary Russell Jr. I think Navarrete is weight bullying a little bit. He is tall, and for you to say he beats Gary Russell Jr., I know height is going to play a big role in that, Dion. I hear you, bro. I hear you. That would be a damn good fight. To be honest with you, I don't think Gary Russell's going to take that fight. Seriously. It's boxing at the end of the day. Gary Russell Jr. can box, man. But Navarrete, goddamn, he has arm reach advantage and he has height advantage. It would be a very, very tough fight for Gary Russell. It'll be a very tough fight for Gary Russell. It'll be a tough fight. I'm not gonna lie. It'll be a tough fight. But people have to understand Gary Russell can box. He's one of the better boxers in the sport. Hands down. He can box. Man. What do y'all think about, hey Dion? What do you think about Terrence Crawford fighting Josecito Lopez next? Yeah, good analogy. Good analogy. We're gonna see how Ray Vargas stacks up though. We'll see how Ray Vargas stacks up against Gary Russell. What do y'all think about Josecito Lopez versus Terrence Crawford? What do y'all think about that? Terrence Crawford, he's not fighting a big name at welterweight. He's fighting a fighter who lost to Keith Thurman, who's coming off a win against a fighter, but not a fighter of the caliber of Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. Man, people are gonna damn destroy. That's my boy, man. I'm still a Crawford fan, but you have to respect Josecito Lopez, man. He is a quality opponent. I don't consider him as a gatekeeper, but he is a quality opponent, man. Seriously. But people are gonna go in on Terrence Crawford once more, like they've been doing, about potentially stepping in there with Josecito Lopez. Real talk. They're not gonna show him any love. I just can't wait to that Vasil Lomachenko, Masayoshi Nakatani, June 26th. June 26th. Damn. Top rank want to go in there and schedule that fight with another big fight. Hey, that's the way it goes, though. That's the way it goes. And, a lot of people are going to be looking at that fight between Lomachenko and Nakatani. Absolutely. Real talk. But, yeah. That's all I got, people. Some bullshit. Terrence Crawford versus Josecito Lopez. He said some bullshit equal Terrence Crawford versus Josecito Lopez. God damn. Y'all ain't showing Terrence Crawford no love for Josecito. I respect Lopez as a fighter. I do. I respect him as a fighter. I do. I respect him as a fighter, man. I don't consider him to be a bum or any of that. I respect him as a fighter. But a lot of people are not gonna respect him as much because it's not who they want him to fight. It's not Errol Spence, Porter, Thurman. It's not even Ugas or Pack. Oh man, I think at this point in time, Terrence Crawford is numb to all this shit. He's numb. He's numb to it. So. Hey, but man, it's been a good one. Let me get this last. They need to put that fight on PBS. He said they need to put that fight on PBS. God damn. Public broadcast system. God damn. Man, it's Sunday, Dion. You sure you need to be going hard on Terrence Crawford like this? Damn. They say they need to put that fight on PBS, man. That's like next to the A&E channel. Damn. Rough. That's rough right there. But my people, I appreciate everyone pulling up today on Sunday, man. Keep your eye tuned in. I still got some shit popping out. Like I said before, once boxing gets started, it is what it is, man. I will be on here as much as I possibly can. Shout out to UFC 261 for getting it in. Very solid fights on the card. Mixed martial arts is growing rapidly. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to boxing. Keep doing your thing. It's just so much that's going on in the sport of boxing, and people want to see certain fighters fight the best. It's just everywhere. Boxing is just everywhere. But anyway, I appreciate you pulling up, man. Everyone who stopped in through the live chat. It's always a pleasure. Keep your ear to WCS, man. For my next fight, I have some things popping off behind the scene. You know what it is, but turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports. Salute.